that whole music thing, and it really got going there in the second half. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hyped me up a little bit. I'm trying to turn on my light. On. There it goes. That was some copyright-free music on Spotify, so I hope you guys liked it. You guys know. But today's video, I thought, or not video, stream. You guys can tell where my head's been the last couple days. But we're doing try to figure out the best 10 episodes of a Game of Thrones. It's going to be very difficult to do because a lot of people are going to have very differing opinions on episodes and things like that. For instance, Season 6, people are kind of very divided on. I'm not so much. I have a clear opinion of it. And so I've kind of limited down to about 16 episodes in which I think could make it in the top 10. The hardest part about this is there's so many good episodes in the first 4 seasons that it's like it's hard to like pick out, I think, like this bottom like 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I feel like there's so many episodes you could put in here that will completely change it. Where I feel like the top like 6 maybe, there's like a set amount of episodes that should be in there. But the problem is like majority of people are not going to agree on what is the best episode of Game of Thrones. Right? Like my answer, for instance, would be the Battle of the Blackwater. I think it's the best paced episode. It's the one where the tension's at an all-time high. Visually, it's fantastic. It was groundbreaking for the series. I would put it at number 1. Now, with that being said, I love the Reigns of Castamere because it's my favorite moment of Game of Thrones. It's my favorite chapter in A Song of Ice and Fire. But I think the rest of the things going on during the Reigns of Castamere episode, I think are worse than the things going on in like the Battle of the Blackwater episode in terms of like the main plot and the subplot. So I think everybody's gonna have their own opinions. But let me look at chat. Let me see how we're doing here. Hi Dakota, hi Larissa, hi Zeno, hi Ghost. How are you guys? How's it going, Aria? Zeno, I'm glad you like the music. We had Amanda Lord Frey did nothing wrong video. Dakota, that's not a bad idea. Remind me after the stream, like put that on Discord. That's a good video. That's a good like get people like actually clicking on that video because they would be very interested on that. Hi PK Edits. How are you? Damn, best 10. Yes, maybe we'll limit it down to 5. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna finish in this because we have a lot of stuff we have to vote on because it's you guys are am actually voting on it. It's not just me. So I don't know. I'm calling it now. The Red Wedding is number 1 because House Frey does the Lord's work. Oh boy. Watchers on the Wall is the best. It's definitely up there. Don't get your hopes up, Grease. You know we'll disappoint. Yeah, I mean, the only way you guys could disappoint me is if like certain episodes weren't even in the top 10. Right? Like I think there are like for the top 6, just looking at the list that I have right now in my notes, I could definitely see you guys saying like a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say there's like 5 episodes that I think are like top 5, and then the rest are like, I don't know. I saw on Crave TV they had top 10 battle episodes for Game of Thrones and had The Long Night was included, which made me laugh. That's kind of insane. Hello Aegon, how are you? I'll be tormenting you, Grease, for the rest of the stream and streams to come. Well, Aegon, I don't know if I would self-proclaim myself as the unworthy, but welcome. Let's try not to start any rebellions while we're at it, Aegon. That's all I'll say. I was about to watch your Fire and Blood video. It was definitely one that I did today. I enjoyed doing it. I thought it was a good video for Sunday. So if you want to become a member, you do get to watch all my videos early. And so that video won't be out till Sunday for the regular viewers, but yeah, it is out there. Also, for my members, that must have been very jarring getting bombarded by 6 videos from me last night, but House Dragon got me into A Song of Ice and Fire. I know it's very Very weird way of getting into the community, but I can't hate it. Better not be any season 7 right? No, I have no season 7 or 8 episodes on here. I also do not have the door. So that is what, episode 6 of season 6? I do not have on here. I do not have it on my top 16 episodes. So The Lion and the Rose, I have down. All right, so let me start it off. So this is the way we're gonna do it. I'm gonna propose an episode. I'm gonna try to remind you guys from kind of the best of my knowledge, and I'm gonna ask you guys first if it should be in the top 10. And then I'm going to ask you, okay, if it's in the top 10, where is it in the top 10? In your guys' opinion. So, first one we're going to do. I think this is a pretty easy one, but it is Season 1, Episode 9. I think this episode has to be in any person's top 10. For those that don't remember, this is Ned's death. Everything leading up to that is fantastic in terms of we don't get the Battle of the Green Fork, but we still get some of the meaningful stuff leading up to it, and the dialogue between Tyrion and Tywin leading up to that moment. In terms of the story, the Tysha story, I believe, is in this episode. We have all the stuff with the Freys and how Robb has to make an alliance with them, and his planning in terms of the Whispering Wood battle that happens. We don't get to really see the Whispering Wood, but Jaime is captured. You have a great moment from Robb. Of course, you have the King's Landing stuff, which is just fantastic throughout the episode in terms of our last scenes with Ned, in terms of him being a prisoner and then eventually dying at the end of the episode. This episode, to me, has to make the top 10. If it doesn't, then I don't know really what we're doing. But I will say, I think it should make it. Also, other notable things we have in here. We have Daenerys in terms of Drogo. This is kind of his, I think it's his falling off and then trying to bring him back to life and all of that. And kind of her final thing in this episode is she's brought into the tent of Miri, and you have the fighting between Jorah and the Blood Rider. Pretty good episode, pretty much for every single storyline, in my opinion. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. I definitely think it's got to be top 10. Like, in terms of what's better than it, would be my question. Because, like, if you look at what's on here, right? I'll just tell you guys while we're voting for this one. This is all the ones that I have listed as possibles. I have Season 1, Episode 9. I have Episode 10. I have Season 2, Episode 9, which is Blackwater. And then Episode 10, so the follow-up to that. Season 3, I have Episode 9, Episode 5, and Episode 4. 9 being the Reigns of Castamere episode. Episode 5 being the trial by combat with Beric and the Hound, I believe. And then also you have in that episode, you have Jaime's like big, confession of, what he was doing during Robert's Rebellion and why he killed Aerys and all those things. One of the best scenes in the bathhouse. So that's a really good episode. And then I had 4 down. I can't exactly remember what happened in 4, if you want me to be honest. But let me go back. And then I'll give you guys a summary of episode 4. This website will work. Not wanting to work. Hold on. Well, I'll figure that out at some point. And then season 4, I had episode 2, which is the Purple Wedding. Episode 6 being the Tyrion trial episode. Episode 8 in that one. I had episode 9 and episode 10. I had a lot from season 4. There's just a lot that goes on in that season in terms of, the battle at the wall, in terms of Tywin's death. There's just a lot of stuff that happens in season 4. The Mountain and the Viper fight. A lot of things I feel like it's got to be up there for season 4. Season 5, I wanted to throw some stuff at the wall, or didn't want to say wall because, it's not, but Hard Home in this season, as well as the finale, the Walk of Atonement for Cersei. That one I feel like is not really in the top 10, but I wanted to include it in here because maybe some people like it more than I do. I just think because of Stannis' arc, the way it wraps up in season 5, I wasn't a huge fan of the way it was handled, so I didn't bother really talking about it that much, but it is on here. And then the only thing I have from season 6 is I have episode 10. I just had the finale of season 6. I think the finale of season 6, I talked about this in our season 6 review. Episode 10 is pretty good. It wraps up a lot of stuff really well. It has some massive payoffs from like seasons worth of build up. So I thought I should put it in there, and I think it probably will be in the top 10 for most people. Maybe not everybody though. I've been reading some non-spoiler reviews for House of the Dragon Season 2. Okay. What do you think so far? Season 1, Episode 8, The Great John makes his appearance and loses 2 fingers. We meet Shagga, the Mountain Tribes, and Drogo fights. Interesting take. Like, to me, that episode, it's a good episode, right? Don't get me wrong, because you're kind of seeing the mobilization of kind of the North and them all coming together. It's kind of a reactionary episode to Ned's coup. I also did have Ned's coup on here, which is episode 7. Heavy focus on Ned, so we'll talk about that one as well. But I don't know if I'd put episode 8 in there. I just don't think it has a lot of the big moments that a lot of the other episodes in season 1 have. I was playing Mad Max and wondering who the hell is blowing up my phone. Well, it was me, little old me. Only season 7 episode I could tolerate was the 2nd episode. Fair enough. The children, of course, epic. I agree. Very good. Somebody super chat or member. Thank you, Chin, for becoming a member on the channel. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy, your stay with the members and getting videos early and stuff. But yeah, the child episode is definitely really, really good, or the children episode is really good. Oh, rebellions! How you should know, I'm the #1 instigator of rebellions. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. Even though we are not including season 7, season and 8, and Night of the Seven Kingdoms is the best of these. I mean, it's definitely got some decent stuff in it, some good stuff in that episode. It's just not like, in terms of comparing it with all of season 1, all of season 2, all of season 3, all of season 4, it's still not better than any of those episodes in my opinion. So, but I do agree. This should be Dakota, calm down. Yeah, there's a lot of good episodes. Barely makes the top 10. 9 of them are season 1, and #1 is Blackwater. Andrew, yeah, there's a lot of great episodes in season 1. I can't even really fault you that. And then, but Blackwater being #1, I like that. In season 3, episode 4, we get Mutiny at Castle Black. Danny gets. That's right. Yep. Thank you, PK. Thank you. I need a little bit of a refresher. I couldn't remember exactly what happened in episode 4 and what happened in episode 5 because I have them both on here. First live stream. Love your song about Fire and Game of Thrones content. Smart, clear, and informative. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that a ton. Fish. I'm gonna call you Fish because Fish is your name. It's easy to pronounce. The non-spoiler reviews are mostly positive. Some negative reviews are mostly complaining about the gore. Yeah, I haven't heard much. I've just heard what Voice of Old Town has basically been saying, that, episode 1 and 2 are definitely good, with maybe some stuff that's not so good in between. But, yeah. Out of the episodes George R. Martin wrote, you can really tell he did Blackwater and the Purple Wedding. Yeah, it seems to be a lot of attention to detail. Very well made. I agree. Okay, so we're going to be putting it in the top 10. Now, you guys seemed to have it should be on the lower end side. So, for episode 9 of season 1, I would be interested to see where you guys are going to place it. How many options can I do here? I think I can do 4 options. Is that correct? Okay, so we'll do 7, 8, 9, and... All right. So there you go, guys. Vote on where you think it should be, given that you guys think it should be in the top 10. Season 3, episode 4 needs to be top 5. I do think it's a good one, but I don't know about top 5. I think top 5 is quite excessive. I don't know. I think you can go anywhere with that one, but yeah. I am glad you are liking the chapter deep dives, Fish. Those are my videos that I put the most amount of time into, that I put the most amount of care into. I really appreciate when people like those videos. Those videos don't do well on the channel, which is, it's fine. Not everybody's going to want to listen to somebody go on for hours and hours about the first book as basically a reread. So, I do appreciate people that like that series. We will be done with it within the month. So, as you will, enjoy that last bit of it until we get into a Clash of Kings, which will probably be around August. We'll probably get into it. Maybe middle of August. Random stuff, you are good. Welcome to the stream. Episode 1 is 59 minutes, and episode 2 is 72 minutes, apparently making it the longest episode yet in House of the Dragon. Yes, I like that we're getting some long episodes. I like that, especially given that is a very short. Serves around 9 or 8. I like that. Or 62 minutes. Still, love the long episodes. There aren't 5 better episodes scene for scene, and that's not counting Ned's death. I mean, I agree, Andrew. I think this episode is just fantastic in its pacing, the way it builds up to this situation in which, it seems like Ned, and again, a lot of this comes from the book, of course, because season 1 is by far the closest adaptation of the series that we got, right? Season 1's the closest to the book. The way that D&D take that material and put it on screen, right? Showing us a bit of Ned's POV as he's dying and all the things surrounding it. It works really well in the show. And I think it's one thing that D&D, whatever you want to say, especially in the first 4 to 5 seasons, they really knew how to execute those death scenes really impactfully and take them from the book and bring them to the screen. They really did a great job with that. Tyrion trial should be top 10. I actually watched that episode last night. I'm on episode 6 of the 4th season. I will say, Tyrion trial stuff is really, really good. The one thing that I think that holds down that episode from it being, in my opinion, a top 5 episode, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the episode. That's the episode where Asha somehow breaks into the Dreadfort, where Roose Bolton is already crossed into the north. So he's at the Dreadfort. But yeah, he's not in the episode. I don't know if there something off screen happens where Roose goes back to his army and behind Moat Caitlin or something it's very made unclear in season 4 where Roose is the whole season. But you have this thing where Asha breaks in, or Yara, sorry, for the show, Yara, where she breaks in, she's about to get Theon, and then Ramsay confronts her, but then doesn't kill her, and then they make it back to the boat somehow when they had dogs chasing her. Kind of weird. Daenerys's kind of scenes in that are pretty okay. They're pretty in that episode. So the one thing I will say that holds that episode down to me is some of the other plot lines. The other plot lines are kind of in the episode. You really just remember the Tyrion stuff in this episode, and that's the one thing that I would say hold it down. Even though it's probably a top 5 moment of the show, is probably that moment. So again, it's gonna catapult it up, but I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see where you guys put that one. Onward to Clash. Yes, I am a little nervous about Clash because all the chapters are longer. Because Clash of Kings, I think, has 60 chapters, if I'm not mistaken, and it's also a longer book than a Game of Thrones, which means every single chapter is just going to be longer than the Game of Thrones chapters were. For me personally, that is very daunting, given how much time I already put into those. It is a very daunting thing, especially the first chapter. First chapter is 30 pages long. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. Actually, Ned's death in the show is better than the book. I agree, Andrew. I agree. I 100% agree. Because the one thing in the book is that we don't really get to see Ned's death, right? It kind of happens off screen in a way, because really what you get is you get all the build up through Arya's POV, and then it kind of it happens, but you don't get a description of what actually happened. And then you kind of go to Sansa's POV and you kind of get to fill in the gaps. So I will say, right, being able to see it on screen, you know, seeing everybody's POV, Sansa's POV, Arya's POV, and Ned, it's a very brilliant scene that D&D crafted. Aegon, you're one of those guys that likes to watch the world burn. I'm seeing some negative reviews for House of Dragon Season 2. I haven't seen anything too bad, but I haven't seen many. So the Walder Frey introduction was also good. I agree. Walder Frey, just an insanely good character. They picked the perfect actor for Walder Frey as well. 16 viewers, 7 likes. That doesn't math. I agree. Dakota, I agree. I'm also looking forward to the reactions of some Italians in a server in that when they found out I flavored risotto with random stuff. What does it even mean? What does it even mean? Tyrion's trial won him an enemy. Boy. Episode 8, episode 6. Maybe. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, honestly. Apparently there were some bold changes. That is one thing that Voice of Old Town did say in terms of like there was some like season 5, season 6-esque changes. So that's not good. Whenever you start bringing up season 5, season 6, it's never good. John's plotline was good. I think John's plotline like heavily picks up in season 3, season 4. But I think the first 2 seasons, and I think this is just because kind of the source adaptation as well. I don't think John really comes into his own until book 3 or 4, or for him 3, I guess. But I don't know. Interesting. Hope they don't ruin the series. They probably won't. Ed screaming Baylor to Yoren. Yes, that's a great moment. Good addition to the show. We actually see Duskendale and House the Dragon at any point, or at some point. It's possible, but I would probably point to no. Theon actor's criminally under. Oh yeah, he is fantastic in the show. I will stick behind this. Theon's arc is better in the show than it is in the book in terms of season 2, season 3 onwards, really. Ander, I will agree to an extent in terms of season 1 had a lot of that. And I think House of the Dragon, to me, I view it as being like almost not, I wouldn't say on par with season 5, but I would say it's like not as good as season 4 or like the early seasons. It's like in that weird gray area to me. First time watching a live stream and watching for over a year. Well, welcome, Brev. I'm gonna call you Brev because it's just funny. But welcome to the live stream. Theon is honestly my favorite character. I think Theon, in my opinion, is probably the best written character throughout like season 1 all the way to the end of season 8. Hi Matthew, how are you? Apologies. I was delayed in Gandalf voice. Oh, by the way, guys, I saw Fellowship of the Ring in theaters on Saturday with my dad, which was insane to watch. I hadn't seen it because I wasn't young. I wasn't old enough to actually watch it in theaters. What an insane experience. I really loved that, especially because it's my favorite movie. Wow. I mean, if you guys get to see it in theaters in the United States, I know it's in theaters for like this weekend or last weekend and this coming weekend. Get a chance to see it, I would 100%. Yes, you do. If they cut Nettles, would it ruin the show for you? No. It just depends how they do it. Again, everything, in my opinion, whenever they change something, if it can make sense and there is logic to the change of why they are doing something, then I can understand it and I can definitely go through with it. Right? Like I can see why they did the change. But we'll see. I will say, if you want more information on that, I will be doing a video. I think my video on Friday will be covering a bit of that. You definitely got to see it, Ander. We know you're a summer child, so young. I am a little young. Fair enough, PK. I can't say the same. If you ask me my top 5 favorite movies, 3 of them would be the Lord of the Ring movies. So, yeah. I think you can still do it, Arya. It just, there has to be some other way of now doing that. All right. So we're going to put episode 9 from season 1. Oh, keeps updating. It didn't update. All right. So we're going to put it at number 7. Don't mind that. I think that's a good spot. I think that's a very, very good spot. All right. So 7 will be. And I will have to maybe adjust this. I don't know though. Let's just put comma 9. Yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust this. We're gonna make this. Why is it doing that? Why does it do that when I was just trying to? I don't know. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll just do this. We'll just do that, and then hopefully should fix the problem. Okay. All right, so moving on. We have episode 10 from season 1. A lot of good resolutions from this episode. I definitely think this should also be in here. So again, for new people that are coming in that weren't in the stream when we first started, this vote is going to be for should it be in the top 10? Yes or no. Think it should? You put yes. If you don't think so, then put no. But I think this is a fantastic episode, or not episode. This is a fantastic episode in terms of we get the birthing of the dragons with Daenerys and that whole arc, with her killing Drogo, all that. It's just a fantastic resolution to the character of Daenerys in the first season. You've got Robb being declared as the King of the North, one of my personal favorite seasons of one of my favorite moments in the entire show. Sorry, I can't speak today, guys. I don't know why. I feel like I can never speak well in streams, but part of it's because my brain don't work sometimes. But you have all of that, which is fantastic. You have a bit of the Arya stuff that actually happens in the beginning of the next book in the books, but we have it here of Arya's kind of escape, more or less, from King's Landing, which is fantastic. Sansa's end to her arc is fantastic. Looking at her father's dead head, more or less, and about to push Joffrey off. The tension is I think the tension's even more in the show. The way Sophie Turner is able to act the scene is really fantastic. Jack Gleason playing Joffrey is always great as well. Just a really great way to end the season. Jon being pulled back, going back to the wall by his friends. Just all the arcs of season 1, they resolve themselves really perfectly in this episode. In terms of watching, as Catelyn and Robb get the news that Ned is dead, and Catelyn having all this visual pain because Michelle Farley is just a fantastic actress. The pain of that, but then she sees her son, and she has to kind of put that pain away because that's what she's going to be doing for the rest of the show, is having to try and be strong for her son. And so we see that beautiful acting then transition into Robb, hitting his sword on this tree and breaking down, and all that's fantastic. So again, I think this episode, it resolves everything perfectly of the first season. It is in my opinion, it's a pretty perfect episode. I don't know if I'd put it like in the top 3 or 4, but this is one that I think definitely has got to be up there. But also, as you guys are talking about this, or you're deciding, if should it be in the top 10, let me know right now in chat. Right now in the chat, where would you put this episode in the top 10? Where would you put it? If you were going to put it somewhere, where would you put it? Danny was peak, Robb was goated. I agree. In this episode, they were fantastic. Or what are your thoughts on Martin Scorsese saying Marvel movies aren't cinema? I don't even know what that means. What does it even mean? Are we talking about like current Marvel movies aren't good for the movie or like cinema anymore? Are we just saying like Marvel movies in general? Like I don't even understand that statement. Like you have to give me more context there, PK. Um Love episode 10, but 9 is better to me. Okay, fair enough. I think the big twist of Ned's death is what makes an argument between episode 9 and 10. I think all the other plots are better in episode 10, but I think because of Ned's death, episode 9 is a bit more memorable. Maybe, I don't know. Hi Ashley, how are you? Rob, you've ruined your sword again. That scene is beautiful. It's not in the book, but it's a beautiful scene. Ander says 3. Okay. Dakota. You gotta stop your Stark hate. That's all I gotta say. I put it at number 5. Okay. PK says I would put it at number 9. Oh boy, we are all over the place right now. Because right now, for me, I would say this episode's probably better than episode 9. So if we're going off of that logic, it's got to be for me in like the 6 to like 3 range. That would be where I would be sitting with the episode. But I don't know. You guys gotta let me know. You gotta let me know down in the chat. You gotta let me know, where would you put this episode on the top 10. Just amazes me. We went from scenes like that towards nothing but dick jokes in the later seasons. Agreed. Birth of Dragons was really memorable. Yeah, it was definitely a big moment. It was definitely a big moment of the show in general. I agree, Andrew. I agree. Sansa telling Joffrey that maybe Robb will bring her head instead, maybe, is the best line in the entire series for me. He gained my respect for that moment all the way through the end. It's definitely a good line. Hi, Tony. How are you? Tony of House Sled is present. Well, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I would settle for number 8. Okay. Dakota is out here just interrogating people. Are you a Frey loyalist or are you a heretic? What is going on right now? I don't think it's probably the best line of the series, I will say, but I definitely think it's a good one. It's definitely a very good line. Very good line. All right, so it is going to be in there. Now, I think we're too split on this, so I don't really know where I would go with this one. So I'm going to give you guys what I would do, but again, very small sample size in terms of where people would actually place the episode. So I don't know. I would say my thought process here would be either 3, 4, 5, or 6. That would be where I would put it. Somewhere in that range. All right. Poll has started. Um, Can't remember which episode it is, but Miri Mazur's blood ritual is one of the scariest scenes in the series. That is episode 9, but yes, that is definitely a creepy moment of the series. Dragon does not concern himself with the opinions of the sheep. Well said, Aegon. Well said. Legitimate question? I mean, maybe. Maybe. The Greyjoys are the goats. You are absolutely just outside of your mind. Don't worry, Andrew. We're going to be doing episode 7 next. I don't know if you guys are going to put it in your top 10, but it is there. It is there. Hold on, hold on. Okay, so I finally got caught up, so I can give you guys pretty much everything that happens in the next one. We talk about it, but let's see what we got here in chat. What do we got in chat? What's chat saying? Um, hey, when animals die in the show, watching animals die just in general is not great. Hi, Mohammed. How are you? Hi, is my long live the green, long live the king. You're killing me, Mohammed. You're killing me. Stannis tamed the Greyjoys at sea. It is known. It is known. Um, thought Aegon was Aegor. No, 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 no. Aegor has not blessed us with his appearance today. He's off doing Golden Company business. You see. Excuse me, everyone. House Umber are the ghosts. Fair enough. Fair enough, Ashley. Fair enough. I gotta turn this to live chat. I've forgotten to do that recently. I think that one Melisandre POV is the top 5 best. Oh, I cannot disagree harder than that. Top 5? Not even close to top 5 for me. Not even close. I'd like to hear your reasoning, though. It's not even close for me. Hopefully that is not the case, Ari. Everyone ignore Ashley. She is obviously being mind controlled by Bran. Oh, God. The fact that we didn't get more of the Great John, and he doesn't even get a conclusion to his character, really, is kind of heartbreaking. Where's my boy Aegor Bittersteel? My strongest boy. I love that kid. Better than that nerd of a son, Daron. Am I the three-eyed raven? No, no. Never. Never. Never, never, never. That's all I gotta say is never. Alright, we're putting it at 4. And it seemed like it was a resounding we're putting it 4. Okay. I like it. I like it. So, again, 1. Okay. This is gonna be a problem. Well, we'll fix it later. We'll fix it later. It's my first time attempting this, and it's not going that well, but we'll see. Let's just move this back. Okay. Okay. All right. That doesn't look terrible now. It looks okay. It looks okay. 6 seems like it's out of, it's not. All right. Moving on. We have episode. We love you too, Muhammad. We love you too. Love you too. All right. Moving on. We're going to do season 1, episode 7. Now, before I put the poll out, I want to give you guys a full rundown of what happens in the episode. So, we have an introduction into the dynamic between Tywin and Jaime. It's our first Tywin scene of him, doing all the stuff with the stag. The symbolism is off the charts. Him talking to Jaime about being, the leader and stuff and all of that. So, a great introductory scene for the two of them. Just one of the better scenes, one of the memorable scenes from season 1. And that's basically more or less what ends up happening there. We get some stuff at Winterfell. Theon being kind of weird and horny as he's trying to have sex with Osha, it appears, but kind of a weird scene just in general. But some of that foreshadowing that there's possibly some worse things in the north. So, I mean, it's a fine scene, but nothing crazy. We also, in the episode 7, we get Jon Snow, Samwell Tarly saying their vows as Jon gets put into the stewards. We have that little arc there. Pretty good, right? Pretty good in this episode. Not anything crazy. Ghost finds a severed hand, and it's like the setup episode before the real stuff the wall happens. So not like the peak of the wall plotline of season 1, but still some really good stuff in there. In this episode, we also have, I think, probably one of Daenerys's weaker arcs, where she's get the assassination attempt in her life. She's trying to push Drogo to invade Westeros. We get a badass speech from Drogo at the very end of it, but it's definitely in terms of the book. For book 1, this is the weakest part of Daenerys. Out of all of her chapters is this little arc here, this chapter. So it's done pretty well in the show. But if you want, in terms of like Daenerys arc stuff, it's probably the weakest of the arc. But the vast majority of this episode is spent in King's Landing. It takes a number of chapters and puts them into this episode. Again, we have Ned meeting with Cersei, telling her, everything that he now knows of the secret of Jon Arryn, why, he believes that he died for, and all this. We have the famous line that's in every video on my channel, except for member videos, because I don't put it in there because you guys have already subscribed, and so it doesn't make any sense. But, you win or you die. One of the better scenes of the entire show. Fantastic. Not only that, right? We get some other stuff. We get some background into Littlefinger, which is kind of a weird scene, given that like Littlefinger's watching like two prostitutes have sex, which is just weird. But then we also get his monologue, basically him talking about kind of his background and all that stuff and what he wants. Really good. We get Robert's death in this, and then we also get the conclusion as well as Ned does his failed coup. So a lot happens in this episode. A lot of it is a main focus on the King's Landing plot, but there's some other stuff like kind of interspliced in there as well. So we are going to be voting on Season 1, Episode 7. Do you guys think it is a top 10 episode? Yes or no? There you go. What is one POV character you would like to have? If we're talking about Winds of Winter, I would say Stannis at the very end of it. That's what I would say. If you're talking about throughout the entire series, I would say Robb Stark. I should clarify that. Bruv, what an episode. It is definitely a very good episode. Season 1's fantastic. Tywin is probably my favorite villain in the show, most well written in my opinion. I think he's the most best written villain, but I think Joffrey is a better villain. There is no character that has ever made me hate them so much as Jack Gleason's performance as Joffrey. Joffrey to me will always be, in my opinion, the best villain. In anything, the best. Just like there's no other villain that's ever made me feel that way about a character. Daeron is simp. He's always in his room, never touched any grass, reading books all day, and listens to Dornish women. Okay, Aegon, can I get your opinion on your other son, Daemon? Can I get your thoughts on him? I just want to see, what are your thoughts on that guy? I'd rather be a builder than a steward. Yeah, I think that's definitely good. Mid-episode, not even top 10. Whoa. PK. You got to take that back. If this episode's not in top 10, it is right out. I'm talking right outside of it. This episode is fantastic. That's all I got to say. Six more days until Peak returns after 2 years away. It is known. Welcome back, Chin. Welcome back. I enjoyed every second of the rebellion. Obviously, I rooted for my favorite son, Daemon. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Great episode, but not top 10 for me. That sex scene with Littlefinger reveals too much. If it was cut, the portrayal at the end of the episode would have hit much harder. But I almost feel like Chin, in the same vein, in the book, we get more of Littlefinger's background because we're in Catelyn's head. We know more about him. In the show, I think it was good to have that scene. Maybe not in this episode. Maybe it should have been in a prior episode. But I think it kind of gives us a little bit more into Littlefinger, right? As a character. Grease wants Darkstar? What are we talking about here, Ash? What are we talking about? Why does everything always relate to Darkstar, even though he's not even in the show? Is Maegor worse than... What? Arya, don't slander Maegor like that. Absolutely not. I agree, Matthew. That is a good part of the show. Joffrey was so hateable villain, but he was so damn entertaining. I agree. Jar Jar? No. Stop hating on Jar Jar. Everybody hates on Jar Jar. Jar Jar's not even in the movie that much. He doesn't have that much screen time, okay? It's fine. All I'm saying is Daron is, I guarantee you he's not in season 2. Ari, I hate to like burst your bubble. If you think he's in season 2, he's not. Coda, I support Merritt's alcoholism. Okay. Right. What scene is it where Tyrion smacks Joffrey around? That one needs to be top 10. Are we talking season 1 or season 2? Jar Jar is goated 100%. Gungans, we up. All I'm saying. All I'm saying, he's pretty goated. Really? Okay, so not top 10. Ah, what a shame. What a shame. All right. Fine. Fine. Unfortunate. Ender's not going to be happy. What a shame. What a shame. All right, so moving on. We're going to move to season 2. So, season 2, we've got episode 9, which is the Battle of the Blackwater. I can't lie. If this is not on here, I will end the stream. I'm just letting you and I'm letting you know now, right now. I'm going to let this poll go. Okay. And when I come back, if there is above 30% for no in this episode, I will be sick. I'm going to be back. I'm going to go bathroom real quick. Ashley, make sure nobody misbehaves. I'll be back. %75%. Who is trolling in the chat? Who the hell is trolling in chat right now? What? What do you mean? What do you mean there was what, 4 people in here that said no? What are we talking about? Are you outside of your mind? I'm just... What are we talking about? Okay, whoever voted no, be honest with me. Did you vote no because you wanted me to end stream? Somebody has gotta fess up. There is no shot. There's no shot in hell that we just put episode 7, okay, outside of the top 10, which is fine. But then we followed up and we were like, some of you people were like, episode 9, Battle of the Blackwater? Dog shit. Get it out. There's no shot, dude. There's no shot. Yeah, that's fine, Shin. That's fine. We're just putting it in the top 10. You can like other episodes besides this, but it's got to be in the top 10. There's no shot. This is not in the top 10. All right, let me read some comments. Number 5 or 6 for Blackwater. I can't get behind that. Cannot get behind that. This episode is in the top 3, or you're wrong. That's all I gotta say. This is top 3, or you're wrong. But Grease, don't go tyrannical. You guys, you press my buttons sometimes. I say you're pressing my buttons and somebody else votes no. What? What? Guaranteed. Guaranteed, Dakota. Guaranteed. Andrew, I'm right behind you. Number 1. I'm just saying. Well, Dakota, that's a dark road to go down to. Because, Dakota, here's the thing. Ashley's kind of the GOAT. So I have to choose Ashley's side if it ever comes to, like, you know, a trial by combat between the two of you. Ashley's winning. Just saying. That's all I'm going to say. What if you press no by accident? Well, that's acceptable, but you got to own up to it. You pressed, you know, pressed on accident, you know, that's fine. There are definitely even better episodes, but Blackwater rules. I have yet to see these episodes, even though I can understand why it's not number 1. I can understand it. But for me, it's number 1. As long as it's in like your top 4 range, I'm okay with it. So, all right. We're going to be just rational individuals here, and we're going to get it its place, you know, at least top 4. If we don't put it in top 4, then we're drunk. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Rainy's better confess to not killing the greens. I will say, Aria, I was on YouTube Shorts, and I actually saw something about Season 2 that somehow got leaked. It was a leaked scene that I saw on YouTube Shorts. So, we'll see. It was something around that. That's all I'll say. Trial by combat, I'll win. I'll bite her kneecaps. Nah, dude. Ashley's just beating you up. That's all I gotta say. He is absolutely beating you up. It's not even gonna be close. You think Visenya is a good fighter? Nah, dude. Ashley easily wins. Easily. She's been a day like 1 OG. She's been a mod for like literally years now at this point. I'm pretty sure she's been at least a mod for a year and a half. So like, pretty sure she's beating you up. I'm just saying. Maybe we should have a next poll. Next poll should be who wins in a fight, Ashley or Dakota. My money's on Ashley, but, you know, maybe you guys think differently of Mr. Walder Frey in the chat. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right. Well, what's chat thinking here? Well, I know I said it's acceptable if Season 2, Episode 9 is like top 4. But the fact that it's overwhelmingly number 4 is alarming. Like, what? Ander, we gotta start imposing, like, our will or something. This is insane. What? What are those? Aegon, is there a reason you like Young Griff a lot, or is it just, like, he looks cool? Just saying. Yeah, alright, yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I love Tywin's entrance in the finale. I think it is. You just see his horse lay. Yes. Watchers on the Wall is the best episode of the entire show. It's definitely a good one. It's definitely top 3, top 4. But it ain't above Blackwater. That's all I'm saying. Blackwater should be number 1. House of the Dragon streams will be fire, no pun intended. Yes, they will. I will say, just so you guys remember, Saturday preview stream with Voice of Old Town on my channel, and then episode 1 will be on his channel. So if you want to catch me live after the show, directly after the show airs, I'll be on Voice of Old Town's channel, not my channel. Just want to point that out there. Then Monday we'll be back, and Monday streams will then be like us going through the entire episode and all that. Money is on Ashley. That's right, Muhammad. That's right. I'd like to hand over my wrench to Dakota, then he can go head to head with Ashley. No. Larissa, no. 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 dictatorship is good. Sometimes in these scenarios, Ander, it makes me feel like, man, I should not give you guys this much power. Because you guys just abuse it. Like, number 4, like, I would be, like, a little bit less pressed if it was, like, 3 or 2. But, like, 4. 50% of the people voted to put in 4. Not a shot. Also love season 4, episode 7, Mockingbird. I mean, it's a good episode, but of the season 4 episodes, I think it's one of the weakest. Like, there's a lot of not great plot lines going on outside of, like, Sansa's. I can tell young Griff has the blood of one of my greatest creations. That's all I'm saying about him. Love to see that. Damn, Ricky is going to be burning the... Dude, Ricky is going to be up at, like... I'm pretty sure we're 6 hours apart where I live. 6 or 7. So he will be up at, I think... The episode drops, I believe, at 8 my time. So he'll be up. He won't be streaming until, like, 9. So he'll probably be up around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. streaming. Yeah. It's going to be a wild time. Wild time. Alright, don't think about it. Oh, preview stream. Trying to do it. Yep. You will try. That's all I'll say. Although we have Duncan Egg next year, that is true. Season 4 is overrated. I think season 4 is very good. Season 4 is not my favorite season. I personally like season 2 above season 4. But season 4 I think is great. Season 4 had a lot of filler. Personally, if I was D&D, I would have introduced some of the Feast for Crows, the Dance Dragon storylines in season 4. I will agree there is some filler in season 4 in terms of, like, the Jon Snow plot line. Like, they really did not know what to do with that plot line, in my opinion, in season 4. So they made some stuff up that wasn't bad, but it wasn't, like, great either. So I can see where you're coming from in terms of, like, the Greyjoy plot. The random Greyjoy plot that's thrown in here is kind of weird. It feels like, why didn't they just do the Greyjoy plot from A Feast for Crows if they weren't going to do it right in season 5 or 6? Would have given you more time to do it. I can definitely see your point there, but I would still say season 4 is fantastic. Fucking Missandei, Grey Worm bullshit. I agree. That's another bad part of the season. I agree. Not great. I do not play Warzone, so, you know, can't help you there. All right. Here we go. I unfortunately am forced to put Blackwater at number 4. It hurts my soul to do so. But, I mean, I can't go against the chat. Wait. I forgot we already have a number 4. Shit. Why didn't you guys tell me we already had a... God damn it. All right, well... Okay, hold on. Let me look at... Let's see what the results were. So, majority of people had it at, like, 3 or 4. If you do 3 and 4, it's, what, 64%? We'll put it at 3. Are you guys happy with that? I'm not happy with that. But, I mean, like... In terms of everybody that voted for 4, are you okay if I put it at 3? Because I think that's the best you're going to get. In terms of, we already have a number 4. I should have thought about that. I didn't think about that. That's my bad. But I'm going to put it there. I think that's a good spot. I think putting it at 3, you know, since we already have 4, we already got 4, that's fine. All right. Moving on. We have season 2, episode. Let me talk about it first, then I'll bring up the poll. So, here's what we got in the season 2, episode. King's Landing, we get some just resolution, right? Tyrion is waking up after his injury. It seemed like he could have been dead in the last episode, but he has this huge wound, which is not as gruesome as it is in the book, but, you know, it still has the same desired effect. Tyrion, obviously, is on edge. right? He was almost killed by a Kingsguard. That part of it's pretty good. We see kind of the resolution of Tywin Lannister being named Hand of the King. His entrance is super badass. We have the appointments of Tyrell and Lannister army. They're, you know, now being a thing. You have Littlefinger getting kind of his reward in this episode. The Shay and Tyrion, urging him on to leave the city, which is all pretty good. What else we got here? We got Roz basically becoming part of Varys' spy network, more or less. Dragonstone, we got some kind of fucked shit. We have Stannis basically choking Melisandre, more or less, because obviously he lost. He's pissed off. And so there's some things that happen, and she shows him some fire stuff, and yeah, he's now kind of bought in a little bit more. The Westerlands, we also see Robb marrying Talissa, a huge moment, the kind of the beginning of the end for Robb, breaking that alliance with the Freys, which is all handled pretty well. You have Jaime and Brienne, their dynamic as they begin their travel, and Brienne has to kill a couple Stark men, which is kind of interesting, given that she's kind of fighting for Catelyn, and she has to kill Stark men who are doing some pretty horrible things. Pretty interesting. Well, Winterfell, I think this is one of the stronger arcs in the episode with Theon, right? Everything's come crashing down, and Lewin's trying to talk him out of all of it and going north to the wall and, forgetting all of his crimes. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he tries to stay, giving this great speech, and he's knocked out. So, that's not great. We see Winterfell being put to the torch, which is very depressing, as it's been, one of our main places that we've been at for the last 2 seasons. And also we have Maester Luwin's death, which is just heartbreaking in terms of the way it's executed and done on screen, with Bran and Rickon having to leave and go out into the wild and on the run. Really great way to kind of pay off the season and end the season. It only gets worse for Theon in season 3, unfortunately. We have Arya meeting up with Jaqen, painting the seeds for her eventually going to Braavos, changing his face, which at the time, that's a huge thing, right? Jaqen all out of nowhere just changes his face. It's a huge moment that, storyline's not great afterwards, but it's a huge moment. We get finally something interesting for Daenerys in season 2 in terms of, the House of the Undying and the conclusion of that arc. Also, it goes a step further because season 2 kind of changed what the book had, but having Exaro and also her handmaiden Doria being put into this vault for betraying her and all that stuff, it's really pretty dark. But everything for Daenerys pretty good in this episode in general. She's also kind of a high point of the episode. We get Jon Snow, who has been captured, and they're marching towards Mance's camp and all of that. And it forces Jon to have to kill Qhorin. Pretty okay scene. We just don't spend much time with Qhorin Halfhand. We don't really know much about him in the show, so it's kind of like whatever. And this is a weird thing because we don't actually, get the resolution you feel like of this, right? Because we don't get to see Mance Rayder until the next season. But it does kind of feel kind of an odd place to end Jon's arc in this season. And then we don't get to see the Fist of the First Men. To me, that is the most disappointing part of the show, and this little part of it is we don't get to see the Fist of the First Men. We just kind of get to see their army and all of that, and it's a very awful, I guess, or not awful, but it's a really amazing way to end off the season with Sam, covered in fear, right? He's watching the dead walk past him, all this stuff. It doesn't make logical sense, to my opinion, in terms of the way it was executed, but I guess it was just the Whites sending a message, kind of how they did in season 1 at the very beginning. It's the way the show kind of changes some things around, but yeah. So, a pretty good episode. But I don't know if you guys would say, top 10. So, I'll put it in the chat. See what you guys think. But yeah, I think it's a strong episode, but I don't know if I would go top 10. I don't think this episode's better than episode 7 in season 1. But, see what you guys say. We'll see what you guys say. What do we got here? They messed up Rob in season 2. Are you just talking about like how they changed his romantic interest and how that all kind of changed? Maester Lewin's demise is heartbreaking. Agreed. Um, Not a top 10 episode, but the best Daenerys episode. Locking them up was intense. House of the Dying Visions were awesome. Wish we saw Pyatt Pre or on Euron's ship, but LOL, we know how that turned out. Yeah. Dany in season 2 was ass. Yeah, she's not very good in season 2. I think season 2 really exposed Emilia Clarke in terms of her acting ability. I know she had something that like happened in her health during season 2, but it wasn't the best performance, and she gets way better in the next 2 seasons. Like season 3, she is like almost a complete turnaround. She's fantastic in season 3. But season 2, she wasn't great. The material wasn't great for her. Again, adapting probably the worst Daenerys book. I find Daenerys in book 2 to be very uninteresting, outside of like her like House of the Undying stuff. But yeah, I think the House of the Undying stuff was still very good. Done in the show. It wasn't as good as it was in the book, but still was good. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see what you guys say with this one. Not having the Westerlings in the show was a bizarre choice to me. I kind of agree, but I kind of talked about this in my video I did last week. So if you guys haven't watched it, it kind of really explains my thoughts on that. But I think the reasoning is, for the most part, was to make the Red Wedding more impactful. It was to make the Red Wedding hurt all the more because thing is, us as an audience, we are not as attached to Jane Westerling. We realize as an audience that Jane Westerling is very detrimental to Rob, and he also doesn't even really like her or love her that much. So in the show, it's kind of the opposite. We actually do like Talisa. She's a very interesting character. She's a character that bounces off of Rob really well, or Richard Madden, who plays Rob. It all works really well, in my opinion, in terms of their actual dynamic. It's just that shift change that changes what Rob did in terms of the book versus the show. And so they do that so that when the Red Wedding happens, you care a lot more that Talisa dies. You care that, they do this big thing where, oh yeah, they're going to name their child Eddard, and, after Rob's father, and it's just taken away that quickly. It's to help bring up that, audience attraction or emotional state towards that episode. What are you most excited for in Dunk and Egg? I want to see how they discuss the Blackfires, how they present the Blackfires. That's my favorite thing. So Dakota, she doesn't really die on screen in the show, so I don't know if she actually does die. You're talking about the book? Yeah, the last we know of her, she's being held prisoner at the Dreadfort. If you're talking about the show, it's just not known. She's just not in the episode. She's not in any of the episodes, so we don't really know. Rob was thinking with his dingling, hey, can we really hate on him, though? I mean, because Rob's wife, Talisa, in the show is probably one of the most attractive women I've seen on the show, and one of the most attractive women just in general. So, as Walder Frey, said, even though he wasn't, totally being truthful, can't hate him. I can't hate him. I can't hate him. I can't hate him. Do you think 6 episodes is enough for Dunk and Egg to do justice to the story? Yes, I do think so. Rob is most guys if he has an attractive wife. Okay, maybe. Fair enough. I like Rob, but he blew his own campaign. I agree. The other part of it is, think about it, Rob has much more of the blame for the Red Wedding in the show, because Ned, on his last discussion with Catelyn, doesn't have that thing where he's like, yeah, make sure you tell Rob, don't let Theon go. That's the last thing Ned tells Catelyn, and Catelyn does not say that to Rob in the book at all, really. She says, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But she doesn't go, yeah, Ned's one of his last wishes to me was that you kept Theon with us because he'd be important. She never says that. So in the book, she's way more responsible, in my opinion, for the Red Wedding happening and Rob failing than in the show. Where the show, it's like, nah, it's kind of just Rob. I mean, he makes a lot of bad decisions. Renly's beard is the most attractive woman. Oh God. Walder Frey insulting his daughters is so bad. I agree. I will say though, Walder Frey though, you can't lie though, when Walder Frey and like Rosalind and Edmure are getting married and Rosalind gets revealed and he has that look to Rob. It kills me every time. It kills me every time. It's just like, see, could have married her. She's pretty attractive. It gets me every single time. Like it's so good. It's just so good. Oh boy. I mean, it's just a fantastic one. Just a fantastic. All right. So, you guys are leaning towards, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But that gets us to season 3. This one's not going to be in it. We're going to be doing season 3. Let me tell you what happens in episode 4, so you guys can decide whether you guys want this episode at or not. So in this episode, we have Jamie, who has recently gotten his hand cut off by Locke. But we also see them as prisoners, Jamie and Brienne. Jamie's kind of just in this pretty bad state, right? He feels that he's a loss for his life, right? He even tries to defeat them and with his left hand, and it goes very badly. Jamie is at his lowest point probably in his entire life. And seeing those two together is really great on screen. And Jamie even complaining, you know, and talking about he's nothing now. He wants to die. He won't eat. And Brienne is the one that kind of snaps him out of it, which is, you know, fantastic. But you also see, and with Arya's plot line, as they are captured, or they are not, wait, are they captured in this episode? No, they're not captured in this episode. They are basically taken to the cave where the Brotherhood Without Banners are. And Hound is brought there and all that stuff. We get some of this interesting stuff about the Brotherhood, what they've been up to, since Ned has sent them out to get the mountain. But it ends with a sequence saying that the Hound will go with a trial by combat with Beric himself. And we'll get that in the next episode. At King's Landing, we get some great stuff with Tyrion and Varys, where Varys explains his backstory as he found the person that chopped off the genitals, more or less, in that entire story, which is really crazy given what they're talking about. And they just, bam, you just see him in the little box. An incredible moment in this. It adds a lot to Varys' character, which is great, especially why Varys was so gung-ho in trying to help Tyrion against Stannis. It all kind of makes sense into that idea. But we also get something else in this episode, which is the whole plot of Sansa. Because we kind of have the plan going in motion, Rob's campaign is looking worse and worse by the day. Sansa becomes a very high target of interest, and one of my favorite plot lines of this season is Sansa's. I like the way people are trying to manipulate and use Sansa for this end or this, and I love the politics that's going on, where Varys figures out because of Ross that Littlefinger is trying to get Sansa away from them. And so that prompts Varys then to go to Olenna, to then have her try to get Marjorie to start manipulating Sansa to marry Loras. Love that entire plot line for this episode specifically. We also not only see that, we see Marjorie manipulating Joffrey, trying to get him to be more loved by the public, and just kind of basically trying to manipulate him more, getting to, get on Joffrey's good side, something Sansa was never really able to do. Also, there's a famous moment in this episode about Rhaenyra's fate. So leave that at that. We see Cersei kind of talking with her father, talking about Jamie and all of that stuff. But yeah, a lot of awesome stuff happens in this episode. That happens at King's Landing. Most of it centered around Sansa. The Bran stuff in this episode is kind of weird. And it's Bran having some like trippy dreams where he sees his mother and all that stuff, and it's all that. That's all that really happens for Bran in this episode. But then we get one of the more interesting things, where we see Theon and he's being he's being led by the boy who set him free, which is Ramsey. Okay? All this is really interesting because Theon is basically spewing everything to Ramsey about what's happened. About how Bran and Rickon are still alive and all of that. And it leads to this scene where it's just Ramsey torturing Theon in a psychological way. And it's just back to the Dreadfort. He basically went in a giant circle. Really interesting twist, especially if you didn't know what was going to happen. Really fascinating part of this episode. Definitely a good part of it. At the wall, we end up seeing the mutineers take over. Jeor Mormont is killed in this episode, and that's kind of the big part of the episode. Sam and Gilly run away, but that's kind of the whole part of that. And the most important part of the episode is Daenerys. So Daenerys, this is her big Astapor arc where she takes the Unsullied and all of that. It works so well in the show because in the show, we don't really know about too much. It's not brought up too much about Daenerys being able to understand what the slavers are saying. In the book, that's not the same. This is not a reveal. Like, we know that Daenerys can comprehend everything that's being said. Like, she's reacting to it in her head. And so this reveal is by far, I think, to me, Daenerys' best scene of the entire show. It's one of my favorites. Having her march out with her dragons out of Astapor. Really good part of the scene, or the episode, and especially the entire season. But will that be enough for you guys to sway you guys onto putting it in the top 10? I think it's definitely a good one. I think if it's top 10, I think it's got to be lower top 10. But this is season 3, episode 4. All right, I'm interested to see what you guys say. Should it be in the top 10 or should it not be in the top 10? I don't know. Ned doesn't get credit for how smart he was, especially in the books. Ryder, I 100% agree with that. I've talked about that at lengths on my channel. Ned is not dumb in the books. He just gets a ton of bad luck that gets thrown at him. And then by that point, it just didn't go well. This could have been you, bloody. Yeah, Dakota, yes. Walder Frey is the master of that. I know, wish they kept in Brienne's mistaking Gendry for friendly. I agree. Funny enough, I know what you meant. You meant to say Gendry, but Delroy, that's my last name. So I almost read my last name. My last name is Gentry. Not top 10 worth, sadly. I'm kind of on the fence, Ander. Like, I feel like it, given the episodes that are on here and which ones you guys have put forward, which ones you haven't. Because again, in terms of like, we've only done 3. And we're into season 3. I know Reigns of Castamere is going to be on here, of course, but I could see it on here. I could see it as like a 10 or 9. For me, it's got to be 9 or 10, I think. That's where I'd put this episode if it's going to be on here. If it's not going to be on here, then in my opinion, we're at the point where the show finds its stride, and a lot of the episodes in the next 2 seasons fill my personal list. Yeah, I can definitely see that, right? Like, I have 5 episodes that I think in the next season you could realistically put on here. So, I don't know. We won't get through all of them. This might be the last one we do for this, which I think I want to get through the season 3, and then we'll do season 4. And, season 4 is a bulk majority of the rest of them. But I think we'll finish season 3, and then the next stream of this series we'll do season. Because season 5, I only have 2 down, and season 6, I only have 1. So we'll get through those pretty quick. But you guys are saying yes. I didn't see that one coming, actually. I didn't think you guys were going to put this one in. But I like it. So we already have, what do we have filled up right now? We have 7 filled up. This could be 6, 8, 9, or 10. All right. I don't think it's going to be 6, and I don't think you guys are going to put it at 6. So I'm going to go ahead and just give you guys 8, 9, 10 and see where you guys put it there. But yeah, I'm glad season 3 is getting some love. I really do love season 3. I just didn't think you guys would put it in there. Especially given probably the next episode as well is a really good episode as well. It's a very strong episode. But see what you guys put it on. 8, 9, or 10. I think for me, it's got to be 9 or 10, but we'll see what you guys say. Mohammed, you tell him. I should have put in a spoiler warning for that. Well, to be fair, you know, back in the day when that was released, I don't think they had plans that they were going to do the Dance of the Dragons, but maybe they should go back and do that, right? And go back and put a spoiler warning at the top of it. Maybe I'm a sick person, but the thing is, right? It's great writing of introducing Ramsay's character. The one thing that I think season 3 does not get any credit for is how they took their time of building Ramsay as a villain, right? Like, Ramsay doesn't really become the main villain of the story until like the second half of, I wouldn't even say the second half of season 4. I would say season 5. Like, he doesn't really become the main villain until season 5. The Lannisters send their regards. Thank you, Larissa, for the super chat. I appreciate you. And I'm also glad that unfortunately, the chat covered it, but I'm glad that came up. I'm glad that came up on screen. Because sometimes I don't know if it works, but I'm glad it worked that time. But I appreciate you a lot, Larissa. I appreciate you a ton. So not only is he dickless, but also a snitch. Because Theon is a misguided individual. He is a very tragic character where he's split between two families. That's one of the better scenes they actually do in season 7 is between Jon and Theon. But there's a lot of reasons. I want to do a Theon video soon. It's close. Season 3 episodes 3, 4, 5 are so good. I agree, Noah. Like, I think episode 4 of the 3 is maybe the best of the 3, but I don't know. I think they're all very close. They have really good, strong parts of it. I think Aegon the Fourth has taken over your chat. That's fair. I don't care. Aegon the Fourth as can be the captain of the chat. That's fine. Yeah, Arya, House of the Dragon should expand it more in season 2. We're going to way more different places. The conflict takes over the whole continent, and even Essos a little bit. Like, it should do that. I'm Greece's worst nightmare. Aegon, what are you talking about? Worst nightmare? I have quite a lot of respect for you, Aegon. Rob is dead. Hooray. Oh, God. I knew you would like that. I've had that as my super chat alert for streams for so long now. It's like, if that stopped working one day, which sometimes I don't know if it actually works or not, but if it ever came to a time when I realized, yeah, it wasn't working, I would like struggle to find where the file even is to like replace it more. I could definitely change that though. If you guys ever want to clip things from the YouTube that whenever I say just like sus stuff or stuff out of context or just like have a mental breakdown, if you ever want to clip it, you can always send it to me. You can always send it to me and I may use it for something. But yeah, that's more of a Twitch thing. YouTube is not as great of doing that, but it's definitely a Twitch thing. I just wish season 2 had more of a budget. We could have saw more of Rob's battles. I agree. I think one of the worst parts about, or not worst because it's something that was out of their control, but one of the things I wish we could have seen in season 1 and season 2 is some of the battles. The Battle of the Green Fork, the Battle of the Whispering Wood, some of the battles in the West for Rob would have been really cool to see. Reigns is probably my favorite episode of the show. So, the Reigns of Castamere is a weird one. I think in terms of, you know, it has my favorite scene and plot of any of the episodes in terms of the actual Red Wedding. I think my opinion has changed over the years on this. I think season 2 is better in terms of the entire episode. In terms of start to finish, it's the best. I think the Reigns of Castamere has the best, like, moment of the show. So it's really weird how I balance that to me because I personally would say that Reigns of Castamere is 2. Put any more thought into adding House Frey to the membership levels. I mean, if you can gain enough support for it, I'll make it the entry level membership. You got to start like you got to get like one of those like clipboards. You got to start going around. Okay, this guy approves and you know whatnot. Because right now, I don't feel like you've got enough support for it. People seem to just be like, What's this guy chatting about? The phrase? What's he chatting about? But yeah. I agree, Ian. I agree. All right, it looks like we're going to be putting it in number 10. It was close. We're putting it as number 10. I like that. I think that's a good spot. If it's going to be on the list, I think that makes sense. All right. Season 3 or 3 episode 4. That is still unfortunate. That is not okay. Well, back these up one. And then we'll just remove that space. There. Now it's actually on there. Okay. So, that gets us to episode 5. Let's do a little quick summary for episode 5. For all that don't remember. Me personally don't remember it as much. But episode 5 is Kissed by Fire for season 3. So, we get some pretty good stuff in terms of the Jon Snow plotline, right? We see that they are sent off to scale the wall, all of that, and there's some good tension moments in terms of interrogating Jon about, how many soldiers are at all the castles, which ones are manned, and all that. But we see Jon and Ygritte have sex, and this is a huge moment for Jon, right? He's breaking his vows. It's creating this dynamic that's really interesting to the show in terms of season 3 with Jon. Like, Jon is still loyal to the Night's Watch, but he's also developing a very close relationship with Ygritte, and that's going to get developed. It's one of the better plot lines of season 3, in my opinion. The two have great chemistry, of course, because they get married. They have great chemistry. So, beyond the wall stuff, pretty good in the episode. Outside of that, we don't really get a lot of Daenerys in this episode, right? She has a moment where she calls all the Unsullied commanders and asks for them to have a new name, but Grey Worm's just like, no, because I was a slave back then, but now I've been freed with this name, yada, yada, yada. Not really that impactful. We see Barristan and Jorah talking about war times and the kings that Barristan's been under and all that. So, again, not anything crazy with Slaver's Bay. But this is where it kicks up. We see River Run. We see the Karstarks betray Robb, killing the Lannisters. And this is a big moment, right? Because now Robb is faced with a really hard decision. Does he bring Lord Karstark to justice, cutting his head off and killing him? Or does he keep him a captive, trying to keep the Karstark men? Unfortunately, Robb, and this is a great way that they shot this scene. It's raining, it's dark. You can tell it's this moment that Robb shouldn't do. Robb is visually just angry and he's clenching his fist and throwing his sword away. It's a great moment. Lord Karstark dying is this very impactful moment. It's a great, great moment. At Harrenhal, which is by far the big part of the episode. It's the big part of the episode. Jaime gets to Harrenhal. He runs into Roose Bolton, and their interactions are great. Roose is teasing Jaime, specifically being like, oh yeah, and your sister, well, how should I say this? Taunting Jaime in a way about what happened at the Battle of the Blackwater. All that's fantastic, but the best part of it, we do see Jaime having to get his hand fixed by Qyburn, but we have the scene of Jaime and Brienne, talking in the bathhouse where Jaime's just laying it all out there. Everything about the Mad King, all of his motivations. It completely changes the way we see Jaime as a character. That happens all in this episode. One of the best moments of the entire show. Fortunately, D&D try to ruin it in season 8, but we're going to act like that doesn't exist. By far one of my favorite parts of this season, and definitely a highlight of the show. We also get another really fascinating moment, right? Put yourself into, you haven't read the book, you're watching this episode for the first time, and the Hound beats Beric Dondarrion, killing him in this trial by combat, which is also shot really beautifully. It looks great. And then Beric comes back to life. We've never seen this happen in the show up to this point, outside of, we haven't really seen it with the others yet really too much either, but the White Walkers, it's kind of known they have that somewhat of that power. But it changes everything, because even us, the audience, we're sitting here with like Arya, for instance, we're like, can you bring back, how does this work? Like, can you bring back Ned? it's this really great moment for Arya as she's kind of trying to go through what she just saw. And I really love this part of it, right? I love this part of the episode specifically. We also see at this time we see that Stannis doesn't have Melisandre, right? Melisandre has gone to get Gendry, and he's kind of struggling as well because also Davos has been kind of put in prison and all of that. And so we have this really awkward scene with like him and his wife with Selyse and all of that. But we also get a great moment with Stannis and his daughter Shireen. They always have a pretty good dynamic between the two. This also prompts Shireen to go visit Davos, which is some of my favorite interactions. These two are so good together. It's one of the most wholesome relationships as Shireen's trying to teach Davos how to read. She's bringing him books in his cell. Great lines. Just great lines. Great lines. It's just perfect. King's Landing. We see some stuff again following up about the Sansa plot line, right? Where, it seems like the Tyrells are trying to marry into the Starks with Sansa, and now it's kind of Littlefinger finding this information out and kind of thwarting that Tyrell plan. It's, again, Varys and Littlefinger going at it and all that stuff. But the big moment of this is when we find out that Tyrion is going to have to marry Sansa. Because of the plot that's happened, Tywin sees his only move really is to thwart this before Joffrey and Margaery are married. And that forces Tyrion to have to marry Sansa, but also Cersei to have to marry Loras. It's a great twist on things because you're sitting here and we are the audience, are Tyrion in this moment. We're like, no. Sansa's finally found some sort of happiness because she really likes Loras, even though Loras doesn't seem to like women, so it would have been a really weird dynamic. But still, she would have been happier at least. And it's just ripped away from us so quickly, right? We had hope for Sansa in just one episode, in episode 4. And it's ripped away from us instantly. So that is the episode. That is more or less the review of the episode. So now is your guys' time. Do you think this episode should also be in the top 10 or no? So season 3, episode 5. A lot happens. A lot happens in the episode. But again, I don't know if it deserves to be in the top 10. If it is, it's going to have to be at the bottom. Like right now, you guys are basically deciding, is this episode better than episode 4? That's what you guys are deciding right now. In my opinion, that's what you guys are trying to figure out. And to me, I would say no. I think there's just some higher moments in episode 4. I think you can argue on terms of all the plot lines in terms of which ones are better, but I would say personally for me that episode 4 is better. So I would say it's not top 10, but it's very close. All right, going back up. I never complained about D&D until season 6 and beyond. I am kind of the same. I was too young to really comprehend season 5 and all of its flaws, really, but I would agree. Hate this cringe Greyjoy sigil anyway. So, if you're a member for another month, Ghost, you'll get something different. I believe it's the Martells for month 2, but I'm not 100% on that. They forgot about the Iron Fleet. Yes. Maybe we add the Frayed sigil as the next tier. No shot. No shot. This episode is better than the previous, in my opinion. Yeah, again, I think they're very close. I think they're very close. Loved Roose in that scene. Biggest tease right there. Yeah, he's fantastic in that scene. I love the way they wrote that. But it's like, obviously, Roose wants to, like, play with Jaime. Like, it just... Come on. Psychologically, just fuck him up some even more. Reminder, no Dornish sympathizers allowed in here. I'm just saying, Aegon, you might like this, but the Dornish have plot armor. I'm just saying, how the hell does Aegon and Visenya just, like, roast every single keep, every single thing that they can possibly burn? How are they still getting food? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know. Unsullied scene versus Harrenhal bathhouse scene. Agreed. You're putting up two of the better scenes of the entire show up against each other. Licking his wounds back on Dragonstone, yes. Can't wait to see Eric and Eric. George, you're a little bit of a tease for that. That's all I'm gonna say. D&D is the reason for anti-Frey sentiment. House of the Dragon season 2 will be better than Game of Thrones season 5 and 6 no matter what. I mean, Arya, I hope so, but I can't say that without seeing the season. So, I don't know. Okay. Looks like we're going no for this. Okay. I like it. I like it. All right, that's going to lead us to the last one. I'm not even going to do a plot synopsis of what happens in the episode. Not going to do it. Okay, you guys know why this episode is here. So, we have Season 3, Episode 9, The Reigns of Castamere. It's got to be in there. We're not going to do the yes or no. I know you guys are going to put it in there. We're not doing yes or no. So, here's what we got. It can either be 1, 2, 5, or what? 6 on here? Is that what we have left? It can be 1, 2, 5, or 6. I'm going to allow 5 and 6 to be on here, but I don't think they should be. So, Reigns of Castamere, where do you guys have it? In my opinion, it's got to be top 3. Based upon where you guys have it, or have the episode so far, I'd probably put it at 1. But, I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think? Gotta be top. It's gotta be top 3. It's gotta be top 3. Reigns gets number 1 for me. Arya breaks my heart more than what happens inside the dining hall, strangely enough. Yeah, I mean, Arya seeing, Grey Wind put down is always a very heartbreaking scene. Her being close enough, but just to see as her brother's head is put on, her brother's wolf is put on her brother's body is insane to me. It'll always be one of those iconic moments where you sit there and you go, wow, that really happened. It's just built up to perfectly. I think everything builds up perfectly. It's like, the moment where Arya is looking out at the twins and the Hound has to say, you're scared because you're so close that now that you're so close, you think that you're never going to get there. It's that line that hits so hard on a rewatch because it's the truth. Arya isn't going to be back with her family. She gets so close, but she can't. She just can't get there. It's one of those things where the book and the show do such a great job of building to that moment. And I'd say the book even more because it gives you more information. It gives you more moments where we're at the twins before the Red Wedding happens. It's just built up to perfectly, in my opinion. You guys, so far, are very split on 1 and 2. It's tied for 1 and 2 right now. What is it going to be? What is it going to be? Will it be 1 or 2? Right now it's 1. Back to 2. It's back to tied again. Back to tied. Yeah, Arya gets to the Vale just after her aunt dies, but that one's more funny. That one's more funny because we all don't really like Lysa, and so it's like us as the viewers, Lysa dies. Screw that woman. Yes, the episode 10 of season 3, that small council meeting is fantastic. Which media did it better, show or book? This is a tough one because I think the show does a lot of things to make the Red Wedding more gut-wrenching in terms of the characters that are there, the things that happen. But the books, in my opinion, build up to it way better. They build up to it more naturally. There's more time for us to feel this unease and this dark feeling in our pit of our stomachs that something isn't going to happen right here. Because I think, what we forget about is in the show, you jump right into the Red Wedding, right? As soon as they get to the twins, the Red Wedding's already happening. The book, it's not the same, right? The book, it's you get there, you have some downtime, but you also then have Catelyn, asking around about certain Freys. Why aren't they here? And all of that. There's more unease to what's going on. And it's a build-up. And even that we're in Catelyn's mind, it's just horrifying, right? These stages that we go in, right, of this up and down, where it's, oh, Bolton men are coming in, they're gonna help, right? They're obviously gonna help. They're here for, you know, Rob to save us. They start slaughtering the guests and all that stuff. I can't even describe the feeling that I have reading The Red Wedding, in terms of just, it takes an entire day out of me to prepare to read that chapter. So I would say the book does it better, but the show does, like the show also hits it as perfect as you possibly could, in my opinion. Murdering Rob's unborn baby is pretty vile and brutal. I agree, and that's why I was there. D&D wanted that to make it as horrible as possible. This is the most overrated episode in the entire series. One good moment doesn't make the episode top 1. Put it at 5. See, I disagree, because the Red Wedding and its symbolism is what made the show. The Red Wedding is the moment of the show. It is the best moment of the entire show. I think that alone makes it at least top 3. I would put it top 3, personally. But I don't know. And even the scenes within that episode building up towards the wedding, when we're there at the twins, those are all great too. Like that, I'm not just saying the Red Wedding, that section of it isn't like the just the only good part of the episode. It's also the build to the episode. It's Arya's building to the episode. It's just to me, every part of the episode I think is fantastic, right? I think, you know, you also have in this episode, just so I'm going to go to my plot synopsis so you guys can kind of hear what else is going on in the episode. We also see the stuff in Yunkai where they're taking it over. Dario leads Jorah and Grey Worm, and we see that fighting break out, and we see that Yunkish flag and that Daenerys has taken it. That's all pretty good. We see Sam and Gilly. They're finally making it to Castle Black. That, which is pretty good. What else we got in here? We have Jon Snow and the Wildling party attacking or encountering an old man. We also get Jon running away, right? Jon running away. It's that breaking point for Ygritte and Jon. It's a really big moment, in my opinion. But I think all that's pretty good. The twin stuff, and there's no King's Landing stuff in this episode. That's more or less what happens outside of, like, you know, the main plot line. I was a show first guy. The book felt like an action piece, a bomb with a long fuse. The up and down is a huge point not found. I agree, right? Like, there's a lot of up and down in the book, and it makes it even more gut-wrenching, whereas the show, it's just once it starts, it keeps going and doesn't, kind of thing. The Red Wedding is the Game of Thrones version of Order 66. I agree. Love to see that, Aegon. Love to see it. I think, so personally, Euron, I think Blackwater is definitely better. I think Blackwater is the only episode I have above the Reigns of Castamere. I think The Watchers on the Wall, to me, is a great episode as well. It's probably 3 for me. I just personally have more personal attachment to what happens at the Red Wedding with the characters that were there than I did about, you know, Jon's plotline. That's not to take away how good that episode is. It's really good. For me, it's a personal thing. I have more personal investment into Rob and Catelyn's arc and the conclusion of that than I do Jon's arc in season. And the final episode of season 1, I think that the Red Wedding episode just hits higher heights than that episode did. But I definitely can see why you did. I think season 1's ending, all the plot lines consistently are better than the Red Wedding episode. I just personally find the Red Wedding overcomes those. All right, it looks like chat has decided we are putting the Red Wedding at number 1. So, it's been a great stream. We're going to come back. We're going to figure out the rest of this, which won't be decisive at all, or divisive at all. But, yeah, I think definitely a good rating. I definitely enjoyed this. And I'm glad Reigns of Castmir's won. I feel like a lot of people are all over the place on this one. But I can't lie. It is a fan favorite of mine. Or my favorite being this moment, the Red Wedding. But thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for the new member, the super chat from you, Ashley. Appreciate you guys as always. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for another stream. And I'll be having a lot of videos up for you guys this week. Starting tomorrow, you guys are getting a video from me every single day until Monday. So I hope you guys